Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing well. So in this video, I'm going to show you that how we can use Power Platform's AI Builder to do a quality check of an item by just looking at the image of the item or just scanning the image of the item. So there are usually certain parameters that we check on an image, right? That if this is okay, that is okay. I can see this thing, I can see that thing. Then yeah, the first level of quality check is done. Usually it's done by a supervisor, but on the other hand, you can use an AI if the parameters are pretty much basic, right? So in this example, I've used uh, three components. So one of them is the AI builder, which is, yeah, goes without saying, it's kind of a mandatory thing. Now, on the other hand, I have also used the Power Automate tool. Again, just to make sure that I can use the parameters of AI Builder, send it back to my front-end application, or I can, send the information back to the AI Builder for whatnot. Now, on the third step, I've used Business Central to show the exact output of the product, but it goes without saying that the last two components, Power Automate and Business Central, are not that much mandatory. You can use any other application to use the parameters provided by the AI Builder. All right. So before we go any further, let me give you a quick introduction about myself. My name is Rishabh Shukla, and I'm currently working with Oli Technologies as a managing consultant. That's the link to my blog, rishabsblog.com, and this is basically the link to my GitHub repository. So yeah, feel free to browse in and provide some feedback. All right. So before I go any further, let me show you what I'm saying, and then probably you can get the idea how it's getting done. Okay, so let's take an example. So consider this as a item card or maybe a QC page. Okay, and in here I'm going to import or take a picture. So in this case, let's say I take a picture, replace, and I take a picture of this image. All right. So once I take the picture of this image, let's also go back to the image to understand what we are exactly going to do in this scenario. Okay. So in this image, if you consider I'm a supervisor, what usually I want to check on a first go. Obviously, I'm not going to check the whole product at once. So if my floor is basically building a packaging of, let's say, PS5, so there are three things I do like to consider for an instance. One, it should have a PS5 console, that's given. Two, it should have one controller with it, not two, one controller. And then three, it should have a logo on the console, or maybe just to take a good example, it should have a logo on the controller as well, right? Okay, so if I go back now and I try to say check for quality, it's going to take a while, and then it says quality check is passed, right? And that's good because I have a logo, I have a console, I can see the controller. Good example. Now let's take another one like this one. So is it a PS5? Yes, it is, but I cannot see the logo in it. It's far away. I cannot see it completely. Okay. So in this case, AI should get failed, right? So what I'm going to do here, say import. Yes. Choose. Basically taken some example. You know make sure that things are okay when I do the demo. Okay. So now if I do check for quality, again it's going to take a while. Now it says that quality check failed because of one or more reasons. Found controller true, it has found a controller. Found console true, it has found a console, which is a good thing. And then found logo false. So it cannot find the logo within it. I'm sure because it's not completely identifying the logo because it's a side view image. Now in this case, the quality should get failed, right? Because see, normally it could be a thing that okay, the image was taken on a different angle, but on the other hand, the AI will make sure that the gate checks are passed completely. You're not putting up any false image on it, right? So that's pretty much the example that we are going to understand, right? Let's try with some other image too, just to ensure that we're getting solid results from it. So I'll say choose image, and let's try to say, let's say this one. Now I will say check for quality. I've trained it with this example too, but who knows? All right, so now again, it says found controller true, found console true, found logo false. Okay, now let's take one more example. I think this one should be of just a controller. Let's see what happens now. Say, go ahead, check for quality. All right, so in here, you can see it says found controller true, found console false, and found logo true. Why? Because if you see, I cannot zoom it enough, but if you see on a controller in the center, there is a logo of PS5. So that's why it's saying the logo is true, right? So what is happening in the background? We need to understand this. So basic checks are getting clear, and user intervention. We are trying to avoid that because putting things on AI can be useful in times where basic checks are passed. And for basic checks, we sometimes spend a lot of resources and time just to do a basic important checks like if the logo is there or not, if the images are there or not, if the quantity is okay or not, right? These are basic checks, and just taking a picture of the image and putting it onto the system, and then let the system or AI decide whether it should pass the QC or not. So that's where we are going to use this whole AI builder thing, and we are going to use Power Automate and Business Central in the background. All right, let's see how we do that. So in the Power Platform, there is a section of AI builder. Under this, you go to models. So guys, if you remember the first video that I made, which basically reads the data from the PDF and gets that information to Business Central, it's kind of the same thing. So we are going to use an AI model. Earlier, I used form processing for document automation. At this time, I'm going to use the model type as object detection. Okay, so if I click on that, so now you can see that the performance of this model is of 86. So like I said before, you have to train your AI model as much as you can. As much as you train them, when I say train it, it means that train it from a different angles of the images, train it from a different variety of images, colors of images, so that it's easier for it to understand. So normally, if you click on that model, so just to make the user interface easier for us, Microsoft has divided this object detection into three different varieties. So one of them could be the common objects. So if I take this example, so now it says combination 1, 2, 3. If I go to the next image, okay, it's a big garden. It has a drone in it, right? That could be a common object. Now this one has a skateboard on it, right? Let's understand a different example. Retail shelves, right? On a retail shelf, there can be more than one item, more than type of one item. But your AI should be in a capability to recognize that how many mouses do you have or how many adapters do you have, right? Let's take another example. How many controllers do you have? How many headsets you have, right? Or maybe is the series of Office 365 or it's of an antivirus. So you can see if you project a camera somewhere near your shelves on your retail shelves, your AI model will be able to, and if you queue your AI builder to take account of your stock on a daily basis, you can do it in a, I will not say it will be 1000% accurate, but yeah, if you train it as much as you want to, at some point you can rely on your AI to take a stock count as well for your inventory, right? Similarly, like I said, try to take pictures from a different angles as well. So third category would be to identify brand logos on it. So this could be one Microsoft logo. There is one tiny one down the desk. and that's one of the logos in Xbox. Now, in our example, we are going to use PS5. So I select next. So in my image, I want to basically get three objects. One of them was the PS5 console. This is my console. Then a controller. That's my controller, which I am going to use for playing, for controlling the remotes and everything. And the third one would be the logo. So this will be the logo. Okay. Now to add a new object, it's very simple. You click on add new object, you type a name. There's no rocket science on it. Now, if I click next, the next thing would be to train your model. Okay. Now, if you're on the right side, if you see this, you will understand what basically training means. So it says take 15 plus images of per object. Okay, so it's not like 15 plus 15 plus 15 for three objects. One, it's better if you take that way. But if you don't want it, you know that they are all going to be all the time same in every images that you take. You can take just 15 images and tag them, 1, 2, 3 in one image. Okay. All right. So to do that, you click on add images. It will open a pop-up on the right, and then you can say upload from the storage, and then you upload as many as images you want to. I'm not showing that process, but yeah, feel free to put up your questions on the blog if you want to. Once you're done, click next, and then you can see there are some of the images that I have taken. Let's take any one of the images. Now, if you have seen the video that I made for PDF reading, you will get the idea what it basically does. So let's take an example. Now in this image, I want to highlight one PS5 console, one controller, and one logo. Let's see how we do that. So I'll say clear this. All right, so I'm dragging it from here to here. And this thing is my PS5 console. Okay, good. Now I drag it from here to here. And this thing is my PS5 controller. Now the last thing, I will drag it from here to here. Be very cautious about the area that you're using. That's really important. So this one is going to be my logo, right? Easy peasy. So once you do this, you have to do it on all the three objects for your images. If it might be possible that some of your images don't have all the three of them. So let's say this one. So yeah, like this one. So in this image, you can see I don't have a console, but I do have an image of a controller, and it also has a logo on it. So yeah, take images from a different angle. It also helps the AI to understand that this object specifically means this. And it's going to be very easier for the AI if you give a specific picture of it, and then it will be easier for the AI to understand that, okay, in a whole bunch of objects in one picture, it can easily identify that required object. That becomes easier for the AI. Okay. Now in every image, you can see the object tags applied has a dark purple color on it, which means that I have applied the tag for that. Okay. If I remove it, it's going to change the color for this. Okay. Once you are done with this, just click on done tagging, and I don't know why sometimes it just ends up everything at the end. So let's see. All right, so I'm going to come back to the model image. Oops. Okay, product logo detect. So now you can do a quick test as well before applying it to a business use case. Click on quick test, upload an object. So let's say I applied this one, open. It's going to take a while. All right, so now you can see the confidence score. It says I found a logo. It has a percentage of 67, and then it also has a PS5 logo here, which has a percentage of 30, right? So be very careful what images that you're going to upload. But at the end, you can say based on the confidence score, if the confidence score of each and every object is not more than 80 or 90%, I don't want to approve the image. That's also could be one of the rules. Okay. Now, if you want to use the model, you have to publish it. In my case, I've already done that. And you can either use Power Automate at this point itself to use the model, or in my case, what I have done is I have created another flow. Now, this flow basically takes a base 64 text of the image. You can use an image from the OneDrive or anything. In my case, I'm passing the base 64 text of an image from Business Central. Okay, you pass that image in the request. Now the AI is going to read the request, read the image by converting the base 64 to binary, and then I can go on and say I want to apply an iteration based on the results that I get. Okay, so yeah, that's one thing. And based on that, I have written conditions. So if the detected object, so the object that you have detected will be named as the detected object tag of the AI builder. Okay, I can show you quickly one of them how I did that. So if I click here, I scroll down, it says detected object name, right? So in this case, I said if detected object name equal to PS5 console. If yes, then mark this as true, has PS5 console. If I scroll up, that's basically the three variables I've used: has PS5 control, has PS5 logo, and has PS5 console. Oh, why console two times? Oh yeah, that's controller. All right. Now, if the iteration is done, I would like to compose a quick text saying that if it fails, then blah blah blah. This is the message, and that's the reason. So the message that you see here, it's because of this compose message over here. So I said quality check failed because one or more reasons. Found controller has control. So has PS5 control is a boolean that I have checked from this iteration, right? And similarly for logo and console. Now on the other hand, I've also done quality check passed. So I became a bit lazy when I was writing the logic. Do it in a constructive way. Put conditions before composing the text. Bad example, but let's say if all these values are true, it means that it's a success example. So I'll go down here, I will give a positive response. If one of them is not true, it's a failure example, then I would like to respond as a failure one. Okay, now again guys, this is just one flow. If you feel that you don't want to do it this way, you can do it in any other way as well. It is just important that you understand the concept of how you did use the AI builder for this. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. So once I do that, I save it, I get this URL, and I have created a small extension in my AL. Now this would be the first time, just to be clear, that when I have used VS Code for performing any activity to, because in my case I don't have really have a good example for how I can communicate between two applications in this scenario. So I mean the example is pretty simple. Use any other options as well. You can do it from OneDrive, guys. There is no important rule that you do it from Business Central and this ton amount of code is needed. Okay, so let's understand the code very quickly. It's not that rocket science. So when I click on check for quality, it basically goes through this code, takes the in stream of the image. I convert that image to base64 text. Small functions. There are library function in Business Central. No rocket science there. I create a JSON object. So if I go to my Postman, apparently it's not open. All right. So in my case, so that's basically the request that I have sent. It just have it's a J object having one property base64 text, and in this I am passing the base64 text. That's it. If you click here send, it's going to do the same thing that was happening from Business Central. Okay, so at this point, I'm creating this body thing, and I'm attaching this body to my HTTP content. Now, since my request type was JSON, again, not necessary to for your example, you can do it in a different way. And then I'm using a post message. Now, if the message is success, I am taking this, I'm updating the value in the response value variable. If I scroll up, This portion is my response value, and that's the same thing that you're getting here. I've made the caption as false to make it a bit fancy, but it doesn't look that fancy, to be honest. All right. So yeah, guys, I mean that's one of the examples for where you can use AI Builder, and I'm showing this thing. It's not like it's mandate for a business. It may give a business value or may not, but in a larger amount of business volume where there are ton of products and everything, it can give certain good um, uh, uphand expertise from our side when we give something like this to the customers where they can use AI. They can make their cost uh, things cost efficient and something like that where they can use AI. It can do their quality check on an instance. Of course the training is needed, but on the other hand, the results are remarkable, right? If the basic QC can be done by an AI, those resources who does that mathing manually can be utilized into something else, right? So yeah, I mean, implications are more than one. I just took an example of quality check. So I hope the video helped you guys. Thank you, and have a good day.